you this new portion of the mural. Remember, we're counting down every Sunday until we get to meet again. And so I want to show you this mural. This is a very special part of it. This is, do you know this person? Do you know these people? Okay, right here we're going to see you've got, who do you think this is? Abraham and Isaac. So you got Abraham and Isaac, and of course you have a place where you have an offering and you have a ram. Okay, so let's get right down to it. Today's story is super cool, and it talks about God had a promise. You see, God had a promise to Abraham. You see those stars up there? God promised Abraham to make his descendants and his whole nation as numerous as the stars in the sky. It was more than the 5 or so that are up there right now. No, he had a promise for Abraham, for the people of God to be so many they couldn't count. And it was going to start with Abraham. Well, see, Abraham, it took a while for him to have any kids, and eventually he had a child named Isaac. Isaac was obviously very special to Abraham, but one day God wanted to see, does Abraham love God? You know, did Abraham love him, or did Abraham love the gifts that God gave? Which one did he love more? God wanted to test Abraham and see where his heart was, and this was good for Abraham to find out. So one day God says, Abraham, I want you to take your one and only son Isaac, and I want you to sacrifice him to me on the altar, just like you would an animal. I want your son on the altar. And wouldn't you know that Abraham says, yes, Lord. And so he takes Isaac up the mountain, up to the place where just like this altar was, and lights the altar and is ready to go and almost is about to put Isaac on it when, guess what? God says, wait, don't lay a hand on Isaac. I know that your heart is really for me. Phew! And just wouldn't you know it, God supplies a ram to go on that altar. See, it's always important to sacrifice to the Lord. Why? Because God gave us everything. Everything that we have is really the Lord's. And that's what God was reminding Abraham and Isaac, I bet, that at the end of the day, our lives are not our own. They're God's. And if you're obedient to give your life up, just like Jesus gave his life up for us, we'll gain it in eternity, and we'll gain it in heaven. That's what's so special about these murals. I'm already showing another one, but our murals are so special. They tell so many stories, and I can't wait to tell you more as we dig into Meadows Mural Countdown and some other Sundays. But I want to remind you, your whole life should be a sacrifice to the Lord. So I want you to comment below, what are some ways that you and your family can sacrifice to the Lord? It may not look like Abraham's sacrifice, but what are some ways you can sacrifice your time, your energy, your gifts, your talents, maybe your money? Maybe you can sacrifice, your thoughts. You ever thought about that? You can sacrifice so many things for the Lord. And really, at the end of the day, how can you make your heart pleasing to the Lord? I want to see those in the comments. Hope to see you next time. Thanks for tuning in, and